remind you, because as I did this, I thought, well, wait a minute, that's part of one chapter, and then, part of another chapter. Is that legal? Yes, it's legal. Jesus didn't talk in chapters and verses. He talked in paragraphs, and he talked in complete thoughts, and he talked in a narrative kind of way. The chapters and verses were imposed on the Bible to make it more readable as we can refer to, chapter 5, verse 43. So, page 1264, and we start with verse 43 of chapter 5. And I love this beginning. There we go, okay. You have heard, notice that, you have heard that the law of Moses says, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. And you can just see his audience going, yes, we have heard that. Love your neighbor, hate your enemy. But, and but is one of those transitional words. But I say, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. In that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. So notice what he's saying. You won't be acting as true children of your Father in heaven if you are selective in who you love. If you love those who are like you. If you love those who like you and hate your enemies. You're not acting like true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives the sunlight to both the evil and the good. And he sends rain on the just and the unjust too. God is indiscriminate in his love, and he calls upon us to be indiscriminate in how we love each other too. If you love only those who love you, what good is that? Even corrupt tax collectors do that much. And remember, tax collectors were typically corrupt, because they were Jews who were hired by Romans to collect taxes from the Jews to give to the Romans. And if they were asked to collect 1,000 denarii, and they collected 2,000, that was their bonus. And they did that. If you are kind only to your friends, how are you different from anyone else? Even pagans do that. But you are to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Now, perfect has a number of different meanings. It's not... Jesus is not telling us we have to be morally perfect as God is morally perfect. Because what he's been talking about is how God is indiscriminate in love. He is perfect in love. We are to be perfect in love. We are to love indiscriminately. Take care. Don't do your good deeds publicly to be admired. Because then you will lose the reward that you're from your Father in heaven. When you give a gift to someone in need, don't shout about it, as the hypocrites do, blowing trumpets in the synagogue and streets to call attention to their acts of charity. Look at me, look at how generous I am, look at how good I am because of what I am doing here. They drew attention to themselves. And what Jesus was saying is they were drawing attention away from the Father. I assure you, they have received all the reward they will ever get. So the reward they received was the admiration from people who saw them and thought, whoa, that's pretty good. But they didn't get a reward from God. But when you give to someone, don't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing. Give your gifts in secret. And your Father, who knows all secrets, will reward you. So, be discreet in your giving. Don't make a big deal of it. And now about prayer. When you pray, don't be like the hypocrites who love to pray publicly on street corners and in the synagogues where everyone can see them. See how righteous I am. Listen to my prayers, drawing attention to themselves. I assure you, that is all the reward they will ever get. But when you pray, go away by yourself, shut the door behind you, and pray to your Father secretly. When I had an 8 o'clock class at Malone College in Canton, I would awaken by listening to a really bad Bible teacher on the radio. Because when he came on, between his voice and what he said, I couldn't get out of the bed to shut off the radio fast enough. It's a confession. But one of the interesting things he did was when he said, and now we're going to pray. And he had the sound effect of a door closing. Go, shut the door behind you. Pray to your Father secretly. Then your Father, who knows all secrets, will reward you. Does that mean I even have to pray aloud? If God knows my secrets, if God knows my heart, He knows what I'm going to pray for before I ever pray for it. So I may be praying, driving down the street with my eyes open. I may be praying, driving down the street without uttering a word. But God hears my prayers. When you pray, don't babble on and on as people of other religions do. They think their prayers are answered only by repeating their words again and again. Don't be like them, because your Father knows exactly what you need even before you ask Him. And we'll cycle back and take a look in a little bit more depth about what Jesus is saying here.